partnerships for food security and disaster risk resilience. Mr. Brian Lee Chandler, the National Coordinator for Barbados Coconut 2 Project. I hope you should be here. You're here, sir. I'm handing right over to you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Dr. Brandon and Dr. John, for introducing me. I'm today's moderator, covering today's segment, leveraging innovation and partnerships for food security and resilience. I'll tell you a bit more about the project I'm working with. It's called the Coconut 2 Project, and that is to really look at how to build capacity regarding the coconut industry in 12 Caribbean countries, Barbados being one of them. I heard a lot of very interesting topics being thrown out today, which blends back into ICT's mantra, which is Alliance for Action. And that really is bringing a number of stakeholders together, both from the private and the public sector, to work harmoniously together to achieve one common goal. And this, I think, should apply across the board to all types of business workers and operators. I have a panel before me made of 4 persons. Alpha Senan, he's from Trinidad. He's the CEO of Way Farms, and he's a Tribunian farmer entrepreneur. I hope I get it right. Alpha, a motivational speaker and a creative youth in agriculture advocacy. I would like to bring him first onto the platform so that he can give his topic, where it is looking at leveraging innovation and partnerships for food security. Alpha, the floor is yours. Hello,
yes,
Alpha.
hi.
Hi.
Yes, pleasant good morning, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. So I know we'll be
I think there's some sort of technological failure on Alpha's
too
side.
long,
Alpha,
but
are you here?
I'll still try to make it work.
Maybe you should go with Miss Lenicia for now.
Okay, Lenicia, are you with us? Lenicia Road, she is founder and executive director of and CEO of Young Women and Men of Purpose. She's also currently the project manager for the REAP Agritech Entrepreneurship Program, which is funded by the United States Embassy of Jamaica. Her topic, her area of specialty, she'll be looking at leveraging innovation and partnerships. We welcome you to the platform, Ms. Road.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. So I just wanted to quickly share with you to give you an idea of what has been happening in Jamaica. I know that right across the Caribbean, we have been facing similar things or effects due to COVID-19. But as it relates to the agricultural industry here, the industry has been hit by COVID-19, but there have been several measures that have actually been taken by the government. They have actually pumped over $1 billion into the sector. And not only has the government taken measures to help the sector, but organizations such as nonprofit organizations, whether locally or internationally, have also been taking steps to help within this area. And I just want to give you a few. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the work that my organization is doing, but I want you to know that not only are we doing this, I'm actually aware of, as we speak, 2 other organizations, one through Northern Caribbean University, their Morris Entrepreneurship Center, and also the Scientific Research Council, who both also have programs in agriculture to help young people, especially who are entrepreneurs in this sector. So for us at Young Women and Men of Purpose, we have a program that is called REAP, and REAP stands for Realize, Embrace, Achieve Your Purpose. And we are actually executing that program. It's called REAP Agritech Entrepreneurship, sorry. And the background of REAP is that about 4 to 5 years ago, we developed the REAP concept to help women, especially who faced whether domestic violence or any other type of violence. And we provided counseling for them and also capacity building. And we provided entrepreneurship training and support. And last year, we saw an opportunity with the US government through their federal grant program to offer an agri-tech entrepreneurship program under the same REAP banner. And so even though we had developed this program last year and we had some delays, we actually had to tweak the program because of COVID-19. So some of the things that we had to do was to make the program virtually. So whereas we were focused on maybe reaching a group of young people who were in a particular region here in Jamaica, now we're actually doing this virtually. And so we actually had over 110 applications from young people right across the island who wanted to be a part of the program. And I want to tell you that we can only support 20 persons, right? So it does show the need from young people or the need for interventions in this. Through this program, we're actually providing training in entrepreneurship and business management. And the reason for that is that many entrepreneurs in Jamaica, especially the agricultural sector, they've never had any formal business training. And in addition to that, we're also providing training in agrotechnology. So how can a farmer incorporate technology into their farming practices? And by technology, we're not only looking at software, but we're also looking at the process and the machinery so that they can improve the system. In addition to the training that they'll receive, we are connecting them with business coaches and mentors, both locally and internationally. And our international partner is Entrepreneurs Across Border, which is located in the United States. And so all participants will actually be assigned a mentor who can help them to take their business to the next level. And then finally, 10 of these persons will actually receive seed funding of 100,000 Jamaican dollars to either start or further develop their business. So in fact, our program will actually be launched tomorrow and virtually. And then the training begins in November and it goes until next year because it is a 6-month program. So that is the type of intervention that we are executing to help with food security in Jamaica, and hopefully it's something that maybe can be extended across the Caribbean, and also incorporating innovation because that is necessary for sustainability.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rose. That was very succinct. Is also very informative, and I wish you success going further and breaking the barriers as an innovator, a disruptor, and an entrepreneur. We move on over to our next panelist.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Denise Stannis, she's from Barbados, and she's a social development consultant with over 20 years experience in the sector. She has a master's in social policy and is currently employed at the CPDC as a consultant program officer. Her topic would be today, food security and disaster risk management, small farmers under the lens. The floor is all yours, Ms. Stannis.
Hi, good morning, Brian, and thanks for having CPDC on board to share with what we are doing in the region. To help me to be more concise, because they understand that we have a time management issue, I'm going to share, I prepared just a few slides. Can someone, it says it's disabled participant sharing.
Okay, I think I have to make you Ms. George, can you make her co-host, or do I have to do it?
Okay, you can continue talking while this is being sorted out, and if it is, then we could bring on then online the
Okay, you should be able to go now.
Okay.
Jeff is coming up.
Okay, seem to be happy.
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
I don't think it's coming up at this point in time. Can you just?
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Sorry about that.
All right. Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking at food security and disaster risk management for small farmers on the lens. Right, so just a little bit first, a background about CPDC for those of you who might be unfamiliar with who we are, the Caribbean Policy Development Center. So it's a representative organization for NGOs in the Caribbean. We currently have 30 members covering, we are involved in, we provide services and assist NGOs in the region, covering a wide range of activities. We look at research and policy, advocacy, lobbying, and we also engage in community-based project management and implementation. And we cover Barbados, right, and the wider Caribbean. Actually, next year, we're going to be celebrating 30 years of existence in the Caribbean. So you should stay tuned to our Facebook and our Instagram pages because there's going to be lots of activity as we celebrate. So also, I thought I would mention at this stage that we also are very in tune to the needs of our beneficiaries. And as it relates to COVID, we've done 2 assessments which look at some of the needs, where some of the challenges being experienced by the NGOs in the region. And we could talk about that a little bit later. So as I said, we're currently working on this project. Wait, I'm just trying to okay, right. So the project that we're currently working on that we're going to be talking about today is promoting the sustainability of farming operations in the Eastern Caribbean. And the Eastern Caribbean, we're focusing on 3 countries, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is right through disaster risk mitigation and resilience building. So this project we started, and it's interesting that this project was initiated before COVID began. And 4 of the outputs of this project, this particular project, will be a toolkit. There are going to be a number of workshops and grants, and there's a situation analysis which has already been completed. Because of COVID and what's happening in the region, we've had to kind of delay some of the implementation activities. But the situation analysis has been completed, and the situation analysis, it facilitated the engagement of small farmers, and it provided an assessment of the situation in the Eastern Caribbean as it regards disaster preparedness and management. So it's interesting to note that COVID occurred shortly after this project was initiated, because then it also highlighted the importance of food security in the region. And maybe we keep talking about food security. We know it is important, but sometimes when something happens like COVID, it kind of like pushes it in your face and you have no choice but to actually look at it from a head-on perspective, like a deer caught in the spotlights, in the headlights. So this situation analysis was very timely, and because of what's happening in the region related to COVID, it provided an impetus for us to really pursue these activities and to make sure that we were providing the right kind of support which was required in the region as it relates to food security. So some of the findings of the situation analysis related to disaster preparedness and resilience building. Obviously, as we've been discussing through the presentations, we hear that, well, we know that farmers are not necessarily equipped to deal with these issues. And one of the things that came out was that farmers required training. They said that they were interested in having workshops and seminars and getting more information about how to deal with disaster preparedness and resilience building. And then some of the other things that came up was the development of land use policies, gender responsive agricultural policy frameworks, capacity building, looking at collaboration issues between organizations, and just generally speaking, the provision of greater support to small farmers. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share with you the link where you can access the report, because what I'm doing here is giving you in a nutshell, some of the components of the situation analysis, but it's a great read and it gives you a very personal upfront view, because it was a mixed methods approach to the collection of the data. It was a qualitative element and then it was a quantitative element. And it provides a really rich discourse and analysis with the farmers about what is happening, and their recommendations were taken. I mean, like, we want to hear from them. We wanted to hear what some of they're the ones that are experiencing any problems, and in a lot of instances, they can give you solutions and point you in the correct direction in terms of how to respond and to mitigate. So I took this from page 26 of the situation analysis, which is, I found it kind of like sums up everything that we're talking about. It says that there's clear evidence from farmers and technical experts interviewed. So the agricultural sector has declined over time, which is what we are aware of, both in terms of food output and contribution to gross national revenue. And then it talks about some of the reasons that have been advanced for this. You're looking at the aging population. We know that young people are not necessarily interested in farming, and as some would say, it's not a sexy population. Sorry, it's not a sexy occupation. And it says that fewer young people are venturing into agriculture, and the impacts of shocks from climate-related impacts are also high on the agenda for farmers. So then it says, despite these challenges, the small farming sector in the Caribbean can be considered resilient. And this is the true nature of the Caribbean populations that surround us. We are resilient. And they remain poised for growth if provided with the right incentives, policies, and capacity building. And due to the many non-climate related issues already affecting the productivity and profitability of small farms, their operators have less capacity to recover easily or cope with the varied impacts. So there's an urgent need for greater efforts to assist farmers in mitigation and adaptation to the major impacts of weather systems and climate change. So CPDC, as I said, we have this project, and we talked about what the outputs were for this. So the situation analysis has been done. We've got all the issues affecting the farmers from more intense data collection efforts. So the next step now is, what do we do? How do we respond to these highlighted deficiencies and challenges? So one of the things that is up that we're also working on is that we're developing a toolkit for farmers, where we're going to be going in and working with farmers in these 3 selected territories and to teach them and to provide assistance in these areas in terms of helping them to develop climate smart approaches, how to respond, how to first understand what is resilience, and hearing from them. And then another component is that after we finish with our workshops, after we developed our toolkit, we've had our workshops, then we're going to provide some grants for farmers that we've been working with in terms of helping them to then apply these innovative technologies that they have learned, and then to see how it can improve their sustainability and their livelihood practices. So some of the recommendations that came out would be sensitization of small farmers in disaster risk management and resilience building, which is what we just talked about. Training, we're going to be training in climate smart agriculture techniques to sustain farm productivity and increase profitability. Knowledge and skills acquisition in cultural practices, such as the development of seed banks, which is what's going to be included in the manual. It's going to be a very pragmatic document, which is going to assist farmers and and helping them to better understand how to utilize the technologies, like use of bin breaks and crop selection to minimize harvest loss and reduce soil erosion. Capacity building for farmers' organizations to enable provision of higher levels of diversified services to members, and then for increased collaboration. So one of the things we also looked at, and one of the things that was voiced in the situation analysis was the even where technical support is provided at a national level, the thing is that a lot of farmers are not aware. So there's a lack of communication. So looking at enhancing those communication flows and working more closely with the agricultural agencies and representatives in the countries, and having farmers develop more effective and efficient networking systems which can allow them to then have sustainable livelihoods. And one of the other things that we've done, which is a little, and this goes back to the needs assessments that we had done for the NGO sector, and not specific only to agriculture, but also, but generally speaking, our needs assessments have shown that technology, our constituents are very concerned about reaching beneficiaries, and COVID has put technology and sharing of information on the forefront for NGOs in the region, and CPDC will soon be having some training sessions coming up, which will be open to regional NGOs, where we're going to be helping them to build the capacity to communicate with their constituents and to help to get that flow of information to make sure that during the COVID period, or post-COVID, that we have utilized technology to be able to effectively reach our constituents and to respond to their needs. So this is where you can find the situation analysis, and you could just go and do a search for Caribbean Policy Development Center, CPDC, and we've got a site that offers a whole set of information, not just related to what I was just talking about, but also for training materials and their regular updates, keeping people informed about what's happening in the region. And most importantly, you can go and download the situation analysis, which gives a great overview of what's happening in the region, specifically to Grenada, Dominica, and St. Vincent and Grenadines, as it relates to some of the challenges and solutions recommended, solutions that are going to be put in place for the farmers in those countries. And hopefully we're hoping that the success of this project will lead to additional funding, sourcing of funding, so that this project can be replicated in other countries in the region. And that, in a nutshell, is my presentation.
Mr. Brian Lee?
Thank you, Dr. Brandon, for highlighting the fact that I'm muted. And to Ms. Stannis, I was just saying to you that the work that CPDC is doing regionally seems to me to be very important, especially in a climate like this, and to help the average farmer and person who seeks to use farming as a model for sustainability. With that being said, I will move on over to Mr. Alan Leach, Deputy Chair of Construction Solutions, Inc., Managing Director, T&C Customs Brokerage, and a very important person in SVG who has integral interest, I should say. I shouldn't use the word integral, but important focused interest in the community in which he serves. I here put the floor towards you, Mr. Alan Leach from St. Vincent. And I also would like to say happy Independence Day, although it was celebrated yesterday. Welcome to the panel.
Good afternoon, well, good morning. Everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right, good morning again. I'm very elated and happy to be on this panel. As I was introduced, I have a lot of interest in social development, and what I see happening today, as Dr. John is here with me, we have been having a lot of discussions in terms of sustainable development and entrepreneurship. We have been having it for years, and it has now hit the spotlight. For now, as we all know, COVID-19 has caused the world over, especially us in small developing states, to rethink, refocus, realign, and readjust the way we think in terms of our food and the way we think in terms of sustainable development. We have to look at now, like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia and Grenada. We depend heavily on tourism for our livelihood, which sadly is a seasonal thing, and it has been going on for a number of years. And we have been talking about this for quite a while, myself and Dr. John, that this has to change at some point. And we are now forced by COVID-19 to look towards that change. And even now, Construction Solutions, Inc., in conjunction with the Young Dems, of which I am the president, we are pushing the agenda for sustainable development and and food security. And by that meaning, we are developing entrepreneurs because we are putting the spotlight on the fishing industry. We are putting the spotlight on agriculture and farming because people has to eat. People have to eat wherever we are. So like now where COVID-19 has basically shut down our ports and foreign exchange is not a big thing, we still have to live. We still have to live. We still have to survive, and we still have to thrive. And that is where we see food security as an important thing right now, because the agricultural industry has not been given enough focus and attention in years gone, and we are trying to put that focus on. Right now, we are piloting a project, Dr. John, in sea moss farming. Sea moss farming, which will create employment for young people. It's going along the line of sustainable development. And it's not just employment, but we want to bring out the entrepreneurial spirit in the people of the Caribbean and in St. Vincent in particular. And in St. Vincent, as you know, we are the 3-island chain. We in the Grenadines, we do not have as much advantage as the mainland. And we are trying to put the focus on the people in the Grenadines to develop themselves and to change their economic environment. And as you know, a people will become free when they're economically free. And food security, as we know it, is defined according to the World Summit of 1996 as the availability of food, one access to it. It's one thing to have the food. It's another thing to have the access to it. You know, and that is where we want to get to. It's not just that the food is available, but you're able to purchase that food. You're able to access that food. You have the funding, because people, we don't just want food, but we want food that are healthy. So we could live long and finish strong. That's a statement I like. You know, even as we grow older in age, we should not fade away and die and complain as we get older for back pain and and eye pain and all these incurable diseases that we suffer with. But we want to utilize the God-given ability and strength and talents that was given to us to develop ourselves. And we believe in a principle that each individual has potential. Each individual has potential. And now we have to make that work where food security is concerned, where our entrepreneurial spirit is concerned, not just looking for a job, but developing ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. And our government has also been putting their focus on food security. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we have all been forced to do that. And although they are behind, they are trying. But I personally believe they are not making enough emphasis, because the NGOs like Constructive Solution Inc. and COESL and others of that nature, who are out there meeting the people on a social standing, need the investment, need the support, need it from the government, giving the funding. But we are out here doing it on our own, trying to bring that awareness to people and trying to get ones to understand and realize that we are in this fight together. We push that same mantra that it's not competition. Just yesterday in our workshop, that was being echoed. We're not trying to compete against each other, but we are trying to complement each other. And as we go forward, we must work towards that goal in building our entrepreneurial spirit, in making an impact in society as it lasts, and getting farmers involved, fisher folks involved to understand, because traditionally we look down on farming. We look down on the people who do fishing, and we just term them as fishermen and farming men and plant in St. Vincent local term. You say you plant in Lakatan, and they use these terms. So sometimes it's belittling when you think of agriculture. But agriculture is an industry. Agriculture is food, and everyone eats. And it should be an industry that is so respected and so invested in, because it is pointing to us now. Had we have food security, farming and fishing, and the front burner, with the decline in tourists and influx and foreign exchange, we will be able to supplement and live a good, comfortable life still and not be worried about our food. Because we have been worrying about our food with ports being closed and countries are holding on to whatever little resources they have. we could be going into a place of rationing, where we limited in our food and we have to only hand out a few pounds of this, a few pounds of that. But we want to move because St. Vincent has very rich topsoil. We are in a place where, you know, I hear someone said, if you spit out a seed, it will grow. You know, home in our backyard, when we finish with our tomatoes, and so we just throw the seed outside, and then you find tomato seeds, tomato springing, you know, and so our soil are very rich, and we could produce a lot. We have a lot of fruits that are wasting, a lot of vegetables, you know, and there are things we can do to develop our food and move to the point where we are so secure in the abundance of food, we move toward exportation, because we import a lot of our food. I should say actually most of our food. It's kind of embarrassing that for a country of such rich soil and so much potential, that we import most of our food. And we, those in Constructive Solution Inc. and other NGOs, and as the president of Young Lems, we will continue to push and continue to work with the young people and work with others and partner to develop our fishermen, our farmers, and to put the focus and to bring the light and the spotlight to this industry and to change that mindset and create a paradigm shift in the minds of people to understand agriculture is not a low down dirty shame thing to look into and to be ashamed of, because many lawyers and doctors today will tell you that their mother and their father were farmers and they were able to pay for their education and become somebody in society that is affecting change. You know, so in the interest of time, I just want to keep my presentation brief. I know there's more things I could have said, but given the time that allotted, I just want to get that out here that we are already on the ball and working towards food security in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and among us as NGOs, Constructive Solution Inc. in particular. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. You echoed the most important things regarding entrepreneurship, food security, and the fact that we need to be more food secure within the Caribbean. I think those are very fundamental pillars that we as Caribbean people should focus on. And it's only COVID-19 that really illuminated this issue and made us more innovative. I hope to continue further conversations and dialogue with you, as well as the other panelists on these matters, because Alpha is back on. I see that he has overcome his technical issue, and I now bring to the stage or reintroduce Alpha Senon, Mr. Alpha Senon from Trinidad to the stage. Alpha.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lee. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. Yeah, so I'll kind of want to dive into it quickly. I want to share a bit about the work that I do with Y-Farm and dive into partnerships in terms of leveraging innovation and partnerships to secure our food and our food future, right? So my goal is for everyone to look like this on the farm with a nice smile down in the dirt in the dashing patch. And if young people who don't have land, they get creative and grow food in a sneak as if you have to, right? No land space, no excuse, just farm it, right? So let me give you a quick rationale as to why we target youth, why we target children, you know. We are in the year 2020, the average age of farmers is 55 years and increasing. By the year 2050, they expect it to be deceased. And our 30-year-old farmers, they are the ones that they are the ones to be expected to be retired by the year 2050. And you know, it shows that by the year 2050, we'll have 9 billion people on Earth. But what are young people thinking about? Because the 10-year-olds today, they are the ones to feed us by the year 2050. Right, and I mean, presently, you know, young people, 10-year-olds, agriculture might be the last thing on their mind to mention. You might get we did a preliminary study, and we have 1 in every 100 young person actually saying that they would be interested in becoming a farmer. And I know it's improving and it's changing right now, but we have to keep pushing it. So at Y-Farm, we said that we have to make agriculture agriculture to really increase the youth participation in agriculture. So of course we use agricultural, educational, entertainment, The way we communicate our stories, our messages, videos. You know, we say that art is the highest form of communication and music is the highest form of art. So we even use music to communicate agriculture to them, because the problem is not agriculture. The problem is creative. The problem is creating youth engagement in agriculture. The solution is creatively engaging the youth. So at YFAM, we created a superhero character called Agriman, the world's first and only food and nutrition security superhero that really engages, empowers, educates young people about where their food comes from, get them growing their food, but firstly, make them understand why it's important, right? And then, of course, Agriman have more characters with him, Photosynthesis, Agribots. We have comic book series that we are coming out with. So YFAM is really changing that perception and belief, right, about participation in youth in agriculture. So we do this via many things, a lot of which I can't go into now. But, you know, doing a lot of classes, a lot of workshops, and we now developing our school of agriculture, right? So the opportunities and the innovation that I see presently, you know, we talk about value addition, of course, right? So, you know, we want to be able to be promoting more and more from the bean to the bar, from the plant to the pack, right? So here we have a pimento product. Pimento is, you know, one of the best peppers in Trinidad and Tobago, probably in the world. Nice flavor, right? From the seed to the snack, right? From the crop to the shop, right? So it's really getting young people to understand, you know, the process involved in this. And one of the things that we were able to do was to take our Agriman character and develop him into, I would say, a brand of food. So here we have a Kalalupak, Agriman Kalalupak. We partner with Marcy Stores to be able to put this on the shelf. See me here with my bunch of dashing bush in my hand, and it's understanding the process. How do we get from here to there, right? And as everyone have been mentioning this morning, collaboration, not competition, complementing, not reinventing, that have been YFAM's mantra, right? Our partnerships are growing. And I mean, I could give a story, just to dive into more what I want to talk about. I could give a story about each partner here and how we work with them, how we started working with them, the storyline behind it. And interesting enough, not every partner here is necessarily an agriculture partner. And I think that is where the region have kind of fall short in terms of, you look at agriculture in a one-dimensional sense. You know, we just look at food, we look at nutrition, and we don't look at everything that surrounds it and has to support it in order to really make that change that we need, right? So, I mean, even these folks here who featured us in articles and media and getting the word out about food security. So YFAM really adds that awareness. You know, we consider ourselves like an awareness machine for agriculture and for children, because, you know, the ideal age to start implementing these ideas into children's minds is between birth and 12, right? So we can't wait till after that to now tell them about food security. And I mean, I always say that the first time I heard the word food security is when I was in university, right? And I always say that you don't have to get a PhD to understand climate change adaptability. So it's about communicating these messages, right? And I guess one example I want to use in terms of leveraging a partner would be 2 years ago, we saw a call online, an application basically for entrepreneurs. It's called the Miss Grand Challenges, and it's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it's hosted or is led by the Miss Grand Foundation in Saudi Arabia. Now, in going through this application, it called for activating global citizenship. Nowhere in the application mentioned food, nowhere mentioned agriculture, nowhere mentioned food security. And, you know, we just spoke about building the next generation of global citizens for global goals. And my team and I sat and we built out a really awesome proposal that looked at 4 different projects. And the award for this was $100,000 US. And I'm happy to announce that we were one of the winners. But my message about this is really finding ways and means, you know, the value proposition, the value that you are adding as an agri-entrepreneur, thinking about it in a manner that you get partners who is looking for projects like it, whether they say in agriculture or not, but you design that project in a way that these partners and these funders could be able to grant you this money to do what it is you want to do still aligning with your theme, because you know with the whole global citizenship campaign, I mean, becoming a global citizen is a main component of that, is being able to feed the world and come up with projects that feed the world, you know. So we were one of 15 winners. I traveled to Saudi Arabia to receive the prize. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is one of our key partners presently, right? So and I must, you know, kind of wrap up by saying that I strongly believe in a 4 ships model, and as you'll see on my screen there, you see a mentorship, entrepreneurship, leadership, and partnership. It has really helped YFAM propel, and we now stand in a very powerful position in pioneering agricultural, educational entertainment, and speaking at many conferences and workshops, doing a lot of workshops globally, and getting a lot of global attention, which of course we use that to leverage funding to sort of sustain our organization, right? So I think I will make it a wrap there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, so kind, Alpha. You have really emulated what an agriculturalist really is, and you have really added the cool to make agriculture cool. I believe, yes, this is a great model. And if more persons, young persons in particular, can take this model and follow it, it would ensure our future is very bright. I must say thank you to Dr. Brandon, and the entire COSEL family, my predecessors that would have presented before. I totally agree with what you would have said. Delaney, it's always good to always hear you. And I will leave with this one quote that the Chinese normally say: in the face of despair, presents an opportunity to create an opportunity rather than see it as a problem. Okay, so that to me encapsulates what we in the Caribbean should do, and COVID-19 has really shown us that we need to be more innovative, more connected, and unite when it comes to supporting our own as a people. Thank you.